Sinan, thank you for the opportunity to sit down and meet with you. I know that many of our residents are not as familiar with the Public Works Department and your operations as perhaps what they are with public safety, for example. So one of the reasons that we're doing this series of videos is to get our residents more aware of the broad scope of the services that we provide. And so wanted to just recognize and appreciate the work that you've been doing in Public Works thus far. So tell me what's happening for project-wise in Public Works. What do you have underway?
Thank you, Mr. Rose. We have the capital improvement program projects in University City that are in our work plan, as well as the capital improvement program. And one of the major projects that we're undertaking these days is street improvements. This is our repaving of streets per a 5-year outlay of identifying the areas where the street improvements are most needed. And these are based on a condition rating system that is performed every other year. And the program work is now being performed as we are in the construction season. And the next project that we're quite excited about getting started with is Forsyth Boulevard repaving project. Forsyth Boulevard is one of the highest traffic volume arterials in University City, and it's not been repaved now for about almost 10 plus years, and it shows, indicates that on its surface, and rideability is affected. So that project is slated to start next month, and it's a federal surface transportation program grant project. So the federal government effectively reimburses us for 80% of our costs, and so it's a large project that is about to start in University City.
So you're able to leverage the residents' dollars by marrying them with federal dollars.
Correct.
So that's good. So we're able to get a bigger benefit from our limited resources. I noticed that we've been having quite a bit of rain, and that I'm constantly hearing about the Mississippi, and it's intended to crest here pretty soon. And so, as you know, I went out and drove some of the streets right after the major storm that we had to see what condition they were in, and see where we were having inlets that were stopped up and the pooling of water. Tell me about what is Public Works doing. I know that MSD, Metropolitan Sewer District, has responsibility over that, but how are we assisting them?
Our street division, in the case of an emergency situation like the evening of May 29th, their duty is to get out and ensure these street inlets, like you described, are functioning as designed. And the roadways are a major generator of stormwater due to their impermeable nature. And so other than the river, the pier that trespasses our community, that carries a lot of storm water runoff through our community, we have our own drainage that gets generated from our own systems, our housing stock, residential housing stock, commercial properties, their impervious parking lots and areas, and eventually our roadways. So when the flow reaches those inlets and cannot get in them, that's a major problem. So our forces are responsible for identifying these problems even at night when they are visible, and then cleaning them out, because a lot of debris is also dragged into these areas to the mouths of the inlets. And so when they can address it at the mouths of the inlets, by that they do it. When they cannot, after they do that, they observe that these inlets are still not draining, then they call MSD emergency line for their assistance with vacuuming those inlets and cleaning them out. We also understand the issues related to these inlets discharging out to their systems, or sometimes it's even the river de pier that may already be swollen and not taking in more water. So in those cases, we still monitor the situation and advise our residents of the warnings.
Okay. Well, thank you. I wanted to talk a little bit about one of my more favorite subjects. Not that all of your areas are favorites of mine, but recycling in particular. I mean, one of the things I think that's incumbent upon us is to leave a better planet than what we inherit. And so along those lines, tell me what are your operations in the recycling area? What are we doing there?
Recycling is a function that we're quite proud of here in University City, because we were one of the pioneers of the process here in our region. And so it's worked well over its history. However, we currently have a kind of an unusual impediment in the way of recycling. It's not that we have changed anything, and with your help explaining this to our mayor and council in a study session, we are continuing recycling. However, the recycling processing is in somewhat of an economic hardship right now, because their markets where they sold these materials to are sometimes not accepting these materials. And so because they are the middleman, they are also more particular now in terms of what they would receive from collection agencies, solid waste collection groups like us. And so when we recycle, it needs to be clean material, all recyclable material. A lot of the offending material is unfortunately plastic bags. And the plastic bags, in the sense that nobody means to do anything harmful to the recycling stream when they throw those plastic bags into the recycling carts, but rather what we find is that our residents bag their recyclables, such as they bag their waste, their refuse. However, this is really becomes an impediment to the process, because those plastic bags are not recyclable. When there is so much of that in one stream, then the processor in the other end of things start either charging us more money for that load, or they may say they don't accept the load, so we are left with now disposing of it. So that's the problem that we are dealing with. It is one of the ways that we proposed addressing this and contemplated was to increase the educational efforts that are open publicly, so that everybody understands this fact, and so well-intended behavior doesn't become harmful to the process.
So the takeaway here is it's better just to throw it directly in the dumpster or the toter without bagging it up, as well as I know in next year's budget that's being recommended, we're intending to absorb, even though we have a higher cost for recycling, we believe that it's a priority for the community, and so we're proposing to the mayor and council to allow us to absorb those costs so we can continue with that service.
Right.
Also, we're hopeful that China will become more lenient, because they are dominant in this market, and they are the country that's really causing the increased costs to us. Right. So, yeah. Another area that you have responsibility for is facilities, and I know that we have a beautiful building here, as well as other facilities, but tell me what's happening there.
Facilities is a new area for our department, and the intention with that being with us is the construction and renovation improvements efforts that we can put forward in that area. So what we have done in the facilities division is that we've outlined a plan This is still in the works, but for 1 year we've outlined a plan of priority projects to address those aging infrastructure needs. These could be roof replacements, some mechanical equipment replacements, addressing flooding issues in some buildings, security and access control type of issues, in an unfortunate era of some negative behavior being around us. And we believe that it is our responsibility, along with constructing and improving facilities, providing a safe and enjoyable working space for our employees and public when they come visit us.
Well, I will tell you, I've been very impressed with the services that Public Works provides. I know that there are more resources that are needed, especially in streets. We will be concluding our debt service on major public improvements next fiscal year, so I know that we'll take a look and develop a 10-year capital improvement plan that will focus on providing additional resources to streets. I did want to also comment that I think our trash collection, I think those guys are just, I'll call them rock stars. They do a wonderful job. They're very sensitive to when they start working. They try to do a good job in the collections end of it. And I know it is very difficult duty, so please pass on my appreciation to them. And I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing for our residents, where our goal, as you know, is to provide excellent customer service, and I think that we are moving forward in that direction in Public Works. Thank you.
Thank you.